This documentary, we dive into one of the greatest unsolved mysteries in aviation history, the case of D.B. Cooper. On November 24, 1971, the day before Thanksgiving, airports across the United States were crowded with travelers. Families were heading home, business trips were ending, and airline crews expected nothing more than a routine holiday flight. But that afternoon, a quiet man walked into Portland International Airport, carrying a briefcase and a secret that would change aviation history forever. He bought a one-way ticket to Seattle for $20 in cash. The name on the ticket was Dan Cooper. He was well-dressed, calm, and unremarkable. Nothing about him suggested danger. He blended perfectly into the crowd, and that was exactly the point. At 2:50 in the afternoon, Northwest Orient Flight 305 took off from Portland. It was a short flight, scheduled to last less than 30 minutes. Shortly after takeoff, the man known as Cooper handed a note to a flight attendant. At first, she assumed it was just another message from a passenger. But when she read it, everything changed. The note said he had a bomb. Calmly, Cooper showed her the contents of his briefcase, what appeared to be dynamite, wires, and a battery. He spoke softly and politely. There was no panic in his voice. He made his demands clear. $200,000 in cash. 4 parachutes. Delivered when the plane landed in Seattle. The cockpit was informed. Air traffic control contacted the FBI. The plane circled the Seattle area while authorities prepared the ransom. One detail immediately stood out. Cooper demanded 4 parachutes, not 1. Investigators later realized this was a brilliant move. By requesting multiple parachutes, Cooper made it impossible for authorities to sabotage them. They could not risk harming innocent passengers. After nearly 2 hours, the plane landed at Seattle-Tacoma Airport. The ransom money, 10,000 $20 bills, was delivered. Cooper inspected it calmly. Once satisfied, he released all 36 passengers. Not a single passenger was injured. Only Cooper and a small flight crew remained on board. He instructed the pilots to fly toward Mexico City, but under very specific conditions: low altitude, slow speed, landing gear down. As night fell, the plane flew south over dark forests and rough terrain. At approximately 8:13 in the evening, a warning light came on in the cockpit. The rear stairs had been lowered. Somewhere over the wilderness of Washington State, D.B. Cooper put on a parachute, tied the ransom money around his waist, and stepped into the darkness. He jumped. When the plane landed, Cooper was gone. No body was found. No parachute was recovered. And the money vanished. That night, a legend was born. And one of aviation's greatest mysteries began. After D.B. Cooper jumped from the aircraft, authorities believed the case would be solved quickly. Most investigators assumed no one could survive a night jump into freezing rain, strong winds, and dense forest terrain. But days passed. Then weeks. And no body was found. The FBI immediately launched one of the largest manhunts in its history. The search focused on a rough area of southwestern Washington state, a region filled with thick forests, steep hills, rivers, and deep ravines. Helicopters flew low over the trees. Search teams moved on foot. Military aircraft scanned from above. Nothing was discovered. No parachute. No money. No trace of D.B. Cooper. The FBI named the investigation NORJAC, short for Northwest Hijacking. It would eventually become the only unsolved skyjacking case in United States history. As the investigation continued, agents realized they had a major problem. They did not know the exact location where Cooper jumped. Strong winds, poor visibility, and flight speed made it impossible to determine the precise drop zone. Cooper could have landed miles away from where authorities were searching. One of the first major clues involved the parachutes. Cooper had been given 4 parachutes, 2 main parachutes and 2 reserves. Later analysis revealed something disturbing. One of the reserve parachutes was a training parachute that could not be opened. This raised an important question. Did Cooper choose the wrong parachute? Or did he know exactly what he was doing? Years passed with no answers. Then, in 1978, investigators found a small but critical piece of evidence. A black clip-on tie was recovered near the Columbia River. It was confirmed to belong to D.B. Cooper. Decades later, forensic scientists examined the tie using modern technology, manufacturing during the 1960s and 70s. This suggested that Cooper may have worked in aviation or aerospace engineering. The ransom money was another key piece of evidence. Every $20 bill had its serial number recorded. The FBI believed this would guarantee Cooper's capture. But the money never appeared. It was never spent, never deposited, never recovered. It simply vanished. Then, in 1980, nearly 9 years after the hijacking, a shocking discovery was made. An 8-year-old boy found 3 bundles of deteriorated $20 bills buried in the sand along the Columbia River. The serial numbers matched Cooper's ransom money. The total amount was $5,800. This was the only confirmed ransom money ever found. The discovery raised new questions. Why was only a small portion recovered? Why was it buried? And what happened to the rest of the money? Investigators proposed several theories. Some believed Cooper drowned and the money washed into the river. Others believed he survived but lost part of the ransom during the jump. A few even suggested the money had been planted deliberately. None of these theories could be proven. As the years passed, the investigation grew colder. More than 800 suspects were examined. None could be conclusively identified as D.B. Cooper. Despite decades of effort, the case remained unsolved. And yet, the mystery refused to fade. Because D.B. Cooper had done something no criminal had ever done before. He vanished completely. By the time the FBI officially closed the D.B. Cooper case in 2016, nearly 45 years had passed since the hijacking. Hundreds of agents had worked on the case. Thousands of tips had been investigated. Yet the true identity of D.B. Cooper remained unknown. The question was no longer just who he was. The question was what happened to him. Over the years, the FBI examined more than 800 suspects. Most were quickly ruled out. But a few names continued to surface again and again. Men with aviation experience, military backgrounds, and the knowledge required to pull off such a daring escape. One of the most well-known suspects was Richard Floyd McCoy Jr. He was a former Army helicopter pilot and Vietnam War veteran. In 1972, only months after the Cooper hijacking, McCoy hijacked another plane in a similar way. He demanded ransom. He used parachutes. And he escaped by jumping from a Boeing 727. The similarities were striking. However, McCoy was younger than the man described by witnesses, and his physical appearance did not fully match. The FBI eventually ruled him out. Another suspect was Kenneth Christensen. He worked for Northwest Orient Airlines and had knowledge of the aircraft used in the hijacking. After 1971, he reportedly came into a significant amount of money. Friends described him as quiet and intelligent. But once again, no direct evidence connected him to the crime. Perhaps the most controversial suspect was Robert Rackstraw. He was a former military pilot with experience in explosives and deception. Some researchers believe he sent coded messages to newspapers, hinting at involvement in the hijacking. Despite years of investigation, the FBI concluded there was not enough evidence to charge him. There were also many so-called deathbed confessions. Men who claimed to be D.B. Cooper shortly before dying. Every confession was investigated. None could be verified. The biggest debate remains the same. Did D.B. Cooper survive the jump? Some experts believe survival was unlikely. The weather was harsh. The terrain was dangerous. And Cooper jumped at night with limited equipment. Others believe he survived. They point to his calm behavior, detailed flight instructions, and apparent aviation knowledge. No human remains linked to Cooper have ever been found. One fact is undeniable. After the hijacking, Boeing modified its aircraft. The rear stair system was redesigned so it could not be deployed during flight. This safety device became known as the Cooper vane. D.B. Cooper permanently changed aviation security. The ransom money remains another mystery. Except for the small amount found in 1980, none of the money has ever surfaced. It was never spent in a traceable way. This suggests that Cooper either never used the money, or was extremely careful. So what is the most likely conclusion? Many investigators now believe that D.B. Cooper survived the jump, lost part of the ransom, and disappeared into a quiet, ordinary life. He told no one. He left no trail. And he carried the secret to his grave. In a world filled with cameras, records, and digital footprints, the story of D.B. Cooper feels almost impossible. A man who committed a crime in plain sight, then vanished forever. The sky took him, and history never gave him back. The following story is based on true events.
You're watching America World Docs, bringing you real stories, global realities, and powerful documentaries from around the world. Subscribe now and stay informed with the truth.